Hello friends, this video I am going to show row 4 of the Ribbon Candy scarf. This is the Kenitra Stitch is what it's called. I've already done a video showing how to work the brick stitch. So if you haven't seen that or you're not familiar with that stitch, go ahead and find it on my YouTube channel so that you can set that up. I will show it again in a minute. But for this one, I'm going to show the color B of this stitch. So it's worked with two different colors, both worked in the same direction. So we've ended our first row over here, and we're going to connect our color B to the beginning of the previous row. So make sure you follow the directions in the pattern specifically that you are working, because this will vary depending on the pattern. For the purposes of this, I'm just going to connect my color B with a slip stitch at the bottom of that brick stitch, that first brick stitch. Some patterns that I have, I will slip stitch up that chain in order to get to the top of the brick stitch. And some patterns I will just chain in order to get to the top, and then I will use this chain for other purposes later on in the pattern. So make sure you're following the specific pattern, but this should give you a good idea of how this stitch has worked. So I've chained to get to the height, or slip stitched up the chain to get to the height, and I'm going to work a single crochet in that third chain, or that top chain of that brick stitch, and then I'm going to single crochet in each double crochet. So there's 3, and then we are at the bottom of the next brick stitch. So I'm going to chain 2 again and single crochet in the top of the brick stitch, the chain of the brick stitch, and in the 3 double crochets. Again, we're at the next brick stitch, so we're going to chain 2. Sometimes that pattern might call for chaining 3, so again, make sure you're watching the specific pattern. This one's a single crochet in the top of the chain, and then in the next 3 double crochets. It just kind of gives a fun little stripe of color there. When we work the next row, we will work our brick stitch around that chain 2 or chain 3. So it's going to hide a little bit of the color, but it kind of gives a fun little zigzag pattern. So let me hurry and finish the next 2, and I'll show you how to end it. End the row. So when you get to the end of the row, you have a single crochet to finish out the brick stitch, and I would recommend either putting a safety pin or a stitch marker around that loop at the top of the single crochet, just so that you don't lose the yarn there, because we are going to work in that stitch. So we'll work in that end single crochet, and then I don't have a stitch marker with me, so I'm just going to pull up a loop a little bit longer. And that's how that row ends. So you've got both of your end loops there. And to start the next row, I'm just going to turn my work, and I will push my loop of the color B down. I'm going to insert my hook in that end single crochet and grab the loop of the main color, and I'll pull it through. I'll yarn over and pull it through. Now the loop, because I pulled it up high, I don't want it that high because I'm going to work a single crochet, so I'm going to tighten that yarn just a little bit so that it is at the height of a single crochet to start my next brick stitch row. A little bit more. So the next brick stitch row, I'm going to chain 1 and single crochet. For this pattern, I'm going to chain 2 and 3 double crochets in the same end stitch. And then we will work our next brick stitch around the chain 2 of the previous row. I do not work around the chain 2 of the brick stitch below. It just makes it a little bit, you can, but most of my patterns don't. So again, just watch the pattern. So we'll work our next brick stitch around that chain 2. And it hides your color B just a little bit. We'll do one more real quick and then I'll show you. Okay, so that is the Kenitra Stitch, and it is used in the ribbon candy patterns such as the blanket, ribbon candy blanket, ribbon candy dress, ribbon candy scarf, ribbon candy cowl. It's a fun little stitch. If you work it lengthwise, it just adds that fun little zigzag row right there. So once that row is done of brick stitch, there's a couple more there, but I'm going to leave it there. We still have our color B hanging out right there. I will just insert my hook in the bottom of that brick stitch, yarn over my color B and pull it through, and then we will follow the directions in the pattern, whether we're going to chain or slip stitch up the chain or just chain. But that's the basics of the Kenitra Stitch. So it's just a fun little pop of color that separates the brick stitches and adds a little bit of a zigzag there. So I hope that helps. I hope you will enjoy working this stitch. You can find all of my ribbon candy collection patterns on my website at craftingfriendsdesigns.com. If you have any questions, I'm happy to help. You can email me at craftingfriends4u, it's the number 4, at yahoo.com. Like and follow me on Facebook and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more tips and tricks and crochet stitches for current and upcoming patterns. Thanks everyone, and happy crocheting.